We'll dust those cobwebs off pretty quickly. We're going to graph inequalities. We're going to graph inequalities. And the way you guys probably remember of graphing a line is your teacher probably always told you you need to get it into y equals form, right? Y equals, so you can get the slope and the y-intercept. So get it into y equals. I am not going to teach it that way. I have a much easier, more comfortable method for you guys. So how we're going to graph this line, 3x minus 5y less than 15, you guys are going to find two things for me. First thing you're going to find is called the X-Intercept. Very easy. You're going to find where on the graph this line hits the x-axis. The way you do that, you plug in 0 for y. All right, so to find the X-intercept, plug in 0 for y. And solve for x. So I'm going to go back up to my inequality. I'm going to say 3x minus 5, plug in 0, times y. And I'm just going to leave the inequality out, and I'll put an equal sign instead. Because I want to see what this is, what x is equal to. And I'm pretty sure you guys can solve that pretty easily. 3x equals 15. X equals 5. So your x-intercept is 5. Go ahead, graph. Please draw an x and y axes on the grid I have provided for you guys. Go, if you have not done so already, please do an x, y axis on the grid. And then now on the x-axis, go to 5 on the x-axis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go to 5. That's your x-intercept. And the second thing I'm going to have you find is the y-intercept. Where does this line go through on the y-axis? Because you need 2 points to graph a line, and these are the 2 points I'm going to have you find. The x and the y-intercept. And I think you guys could probably guess, how do you find the y-intercept? Now plug in 0 for x. Plug in 0 for x. So 3, and I'm showing plugging in 0. I know most of you guys could probably do it in your head, which is fine. Go ahead and do so. Do it in your head. Negative, so that's 0. Negative 5y equals 15. And are you getting your y-intercept to be negative 3 now? Y-intercept at negative 3. Graph it on the y-axis now. So you should have 2 points right now. X at 5 at x and negative 3 on the y. All right, there are your 2 points. Everyone ready to graph the line? Grab your handy dandy straight edge, whatever you're using. Before you do a line though, stop! Before you do the line. Anybody remember from their Algebra 1 days, when doing an inequality, what do you need to worry about with the line? Anybody remember what you need to worry about?
Is it if it's dashed or it's a solid line?
We got it all. We got an answer in class. We got an answer in home. Yes. Is it dashed or is it solid? If it's dashed, it will just be a plain inequality with none of that or equal to at the bottom of it. All right. A solid line has the or equal to attached. This does not. So grab your straight edge and do a dashed line. We are going to do a dashed line here. So this one does not have an or equal to, so it's going to be a dashed line through my intercepts. Almost done. Almost.
Shading.
Shading, yeah, that was huge, right? You got to worry about shading. Good job, Caroline. Now, where do I shade? Do I shade above or do I shade below this line? We don't guess. what I'm going to have you guys do is test a point. The easiest point out of all of them, 0, 0. As long as your line does not go through 0, 0, you can test it. What if the line does go through 0, 0? I'll get to that whenever that happens. All right, but test 0, 0 all the time unless your line goes through it. All right, what do I mean by test? Plug in 0 and 0. X, plug in 0 for X, 0 for Y. Here we go. 3 times 0 minus 5 times 0. Is that less than 15? Well, one side 0, so is 0 less than 15? Yes or no? True or false? Is 0 less than? That's true. Yes. 0 is less than 15. So I want to make sure when I shade that it has 0, 0 in it. Because 0, 0 works. It's true. So everyone take one of your different colors now and shade above the line because I need 0, 0 to be included. Whew, good old days, right? Back from Algebra 1. Might have been 8th grade too. I don't even know these days when kids do all this. And there it is. Inequalities. Any point in that shaded region is an answer. Any point. You guys have any questions for me? Because this is basic. I don't need you to do this. I need you to do what's coming up next. Any issues? Looks good? All right, next one then. Now here's where I need you to be with me. Do 2 at a time now. 2 at a time on the same graph, and where's my answer? All right, so go ahead. Why don't we get your x, y axes first before we do any intercepts? Go ahead, draw your x and y axes first, and then we'll do the intercepts together. All right, got the x and y axes drawn in. All right, let's take 2x minus 5y less than or equal to negative 10, and let's find the x and y intercepts. So my x-intercept, plug in 0 for y. Always plug in for the opposite variable. So 2x equals 10. Because I know 5 times 0 is just going to be 0. So your x-intercept is 5. If you want to go ahead and graph it, go ahead. If you want to find the y now, find it instead. So 5. If I'm going too fast, let me know. And then you guys have your y-intercept. I just think this process is a heck of a lot easier than trying to get y by itself, dealing with some fractions. Ugh, much easier here. So plug in 0 for x now to find your y-intercept. Always plug in for the 0 for the opposite variable. So what's that? Negative 5y equals 10. Y-intercept, negative 2. Solid or dashed here, kids? Solid or dashed for this one in particular?
Solid.
Solid. That has the or equal to. That's what I was talking about before. It's got the or equal to. What is that? Embarrassing. It's got the or equal to there. So I got to do a solid line. Again, I'm going to be all over you on the assignment tomorrow. Use a darn straight edge. And you'll see why the very last problem we do today, I'm so obsessed about it. All right, let's figure out where I got a shade now, right? Above or below? Let's see, the line doesn't go through 0, 0, so I can test that 0, 0. So it's 2 times 0 minus 5 times 0. Is 0 less than or equal to 10?
Yep.
Okay, so that means I got to make sure 0, 0 is part of my shading. Okay, make sure 0, 0 is part of the shading. So take one of your colors, shade her in nice and neat. Don't make it like you have the pen in your mouth or between your toes and you're doing this. All right, let's do the next line now together. 3x minus 2y is greater than 6. X-intercept, Y-intercept. Seriously, guys, stop me if you're still concerned here. Third time doing it, I pretty much just make the judgment that you guys are good and don't need my help here. You just need to check it with me. So 3x equals 6. X equals 2 for Y-intercept. Y-intercept. Negative 2y equals 6. Y equals negative 3 on the y-axis. You guys may be ahead of me now, but are you doing a solid or a dashed line here? It's important.
It's dashed.
It is dashed because there is no or equal to. Perfect. Straight edge, straight edge, straight edge. And then let's see where we're going to shade this bad boy now. Let's see. Does the line go through 0, 0? Nope. So we can test it. So we're going to do 3 times 0 minus 2 times 0. Is that greater than 6? Uh-oh, what happened here? Is 0 greater than 6?
No.
Ooh, so
Shade above.
I wouldn't want to shade above, right?
Or below. Sorry.
Right? Because if 0 is not greater than 6, that means 0, 0 doesn't work as an answer. So I want to make sure my shading is away from the other side of 0, 0, everyone. So in this case, my dash line, I'm going to shade to the right, below, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I did that. I just said it wrong.
It's all right. You're good. Okay, so going back to your Algebra 2 days, or Algebra 1 days, when I graphed 2 on the same graph, where was our answer?
Where they're both shaded.
Where
the solution set.
Where the shaded regions overlap each other, correct. And what I need you guys to do is take a nice thick S to that region for me. Draw me a nice thick S where those overlapping regions occur. So anywhere within here would be an answer. Okay, wherever the shaded regions overlap will be your final answer. I'll go ahead and finish up. And I'm still missing something here, by the way. I don't want to move on yet. I'm still missing something. I don't know if anybody knows. It's kind of like a little minor detail, but it still needs to happen.
Name a point in the region.
No, I don't need you to go that far. No, I just need the big S there. That's good enough for me. I'm not going to have you guys pick a point out. That's Algebra 1 stuff. I do need one little small detail, though, and I don't know if anybody knows.
Do you have to label the lines?
At least one, Nick. Yes, thank you. I need to at least label one of the lines with the inequality. I don't need both. I need at least one line labeled with what it is. So for instance, the solid line, just write next to it 2x minus 5y less than or equal to 10. There you go. Questions from you guys? Because the next 2 out of 3 should go quick. The last one's going to take us a little bit more time. But any questions from you guys right now? Okay, so let's do this. Ooh, go ahead, get your X, Y axes down first. Get those down. All right, so we see a little something different here, don't we, with our inequalities? You'll see in the first one, it's just X all by itself. It's not X and Y. So if I see just X by itself, that's telling me this is going to be a vertical line. All right, I don't know if you remember that or don't. If you don't, it's fine, no big deal. But if X is by itself, that means it's a vertical line. So everybody grab their straight edge right now. Get a vertical line at 2 on the x-axis. Solid or dashed? Anybody, solid or dashed?
Solid.
Solid, yes. So here you go. Solid line going through 2. Vertical line. Vertical, solid line going through 2. And it still needs to be shaded. I don't need to test a point here. Read the inequality. X's are less than 2. X's are less than or equal to 2. So I want you to think about it. Where are all your X's less than 2? To the left of this line or to the right of this line? Where are all your X values less than 2? Don't say anything. First time here today. Oh, there we go. Kian, where are all my X values less than 2? To the left or right of this line? Left. So everyone's shading to the left now. All the X values are less than 2 to the left of the line. Right? 1, 0, -1, -2, all to the left. And I think you can probably guess when Y is by itself, like it is in the second one, we'll have ourselves a horizontal line. And it's going to be solid because it's or equal to. So everyone make sure -1 on the y-axis, a horizontal line. And now I got to figure out where my shading's going to go. Where are all my y values greater than -1? Above that line or below? Where are all your y values greater than that -1? Above it or below it? We're fine. We're good. We're good. Go ahead, Dan. Above or below this line? Where are all my y values greater than -1?
They're above.
Above it. Yes, above. So everyone shade above that horizontal line. And look where the intersection of your shading happens. And put a nice S in there for me again. And then minor detail from last time, make sure you label one of the lines with an equation. Okay, anything? specifically on the shading. You guys are good? So X by itself, vertical, Y by itself, horizontal. We'll see a lot of that too. All right, last easy one here. Go ahead, get your X, Y axes if you haven't done so. All right, we see -2, X, and 5. Hey, X is by itself. There's no Y with it. We just talked last problem. This is going to be vertical. In fact, you're just not going to have one vertical line. You're going to have two vertical lines on this one. X is between -2 and 5. So I need a vertical line at -2, and I need a vertical line at 5. We just got to figure out if it's going to be dashed or solid here. So first one, at -2, anybody got an idea? A solid vertical line or a dashed one at -2? Just look at the symbol.
Solid.
Solid, yes, solid. So at -2, everyone, solid line. And then how about at -5? I mean, yeah, -5. +5. What type of line at +5? Look at the symbol next to it. Dashed, good job, dashed, yep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this one's an easy one as far as shading goes. It says that X has to be in between those two, -2 and 5. So all I'm going to do is shade in everything between -2 and 5. My answers are anything between -2 and 5. So nothing outside, everything in between. Any questions from you guys yet? Because here we go. Coming up, the toughest one. And this is where I need the level I need you guys to be. Anything right now before we move on? All right, you ready? Buckle up. Buckle up. Whoa! Four equations. Here's what I need you to do, because this is going to get real sloppy real quick. We're not going to shade anything until the end. Okay, because I'm sure if you can imagine in your mind us trying to shade 4 times, this thing's going to look like a disaster. Okay, I may have ended up just shading in the whole darn thing. All right, so we are going to wait until the end to do our shading. Let's graph all the lines first, and let's start with the easier of the 2 down below. The last 2 are probably the easiest to graph. If you haven't done so already, graph yourself an X and a Y axis. Go ahead. If you haven't done so already. All right, let's go. Let's do X is greater than or equal to -2 first. X greater than or equal to -2. Look back in your notes. Is this going to be a horizontal or a vertical line? X. Ella, X, vertical or horizontal?
Vertical.
Vertical. Solid or dashed?
Solid.
Solid. Good. Heck, why don't we just say right now so I don't have to ask? We can all agree they're all going to be solid. Look at all the signs. They're all going to be solid. All right, let's go. Ella says, hey, vertical line at -2. Got it. I don't want you to shade, but hey, I need you guys. This is where I'm going to challenge you today. Think about where you would have shaded. All right, get that in your mind right now. Would you have shaded to the right or to the left of this line? Where are all the x's greater than -2? I don't want you to, because it's going to be a mess. But where would you have shaded here? To the right or to the left? Bassett, to the right or to the left, greater than -2?
To the right.
To the right. So whether you guys keep that in your mind right now, that we would shade that to the right, maybe you guys write it down, whatever, gets the job done. Okay? So I know that's got to get shaded to the right. And if you want to label it right now, why don't we just label it too, because we're going to have to at the end. X is greater than or equal to -2. Shading to the right. Keep that in my mind. I've got to shade that to the right. All right, next one. Y is less than or equal to 4. Y. What type of line are you going to graph for me here? 6. Mason. What type of line? Horizontal or vertical? Y.
Horizontal.
Horizontal. And I'm not even, you're good. We already said it, everything's going to be solid. So horizontal line at 4, everyone. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's label it. All of them but one have to get labeled, so. All right, let's think in your mind now. Would you shade this one above or below? Where are all your Y's less than 4? Would you shade above or below here? 10. Caroline, would you shade above or below? Less than 4?
Below.
Below, all right? So I say shade below, just to remind myself. Guys, everyone stop, please. Everyone stop what you're doing, even if you're getting ahead of me. Here's what I'm trying to, guys, have you do in your head right now. So to the right on my green line, down on my red line. I'm trying to make the area where I'm going to shade smaller and smaller. So I at least know my final answer is going to be somewhere in here. And we can all agree there. I don't want to shade yet, but you guys in agreement with me. My final shaded region is going to be somewhere in that purple area. I want to make that purple area smaller now by graphing another line. All right, so I at least know somewhere in this square to the bottom right is going to be my final shading. I want to make it smaller now. So let's graph the top one. 3x plus y is less than 6. All right, we did this at the very beginning of class today. Find your x and your y-intercept. Go ahead. X and y-intercept. Plug in 0 for the opposite variable. Woo! Ooh, that y-intercept is pretty easy, huh? All right, so 2 on the x, 6 on the y. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And just be careful. I've seen a lot of kids in the past. Make sure you always graph these on your original XY axes that you made. I see some kids trying to graph it on the horizontal and vertical lines you guys already graphed. No. Make sure it's on the original X and Y. Grab your straight edge. This problem is why it's so important to have a darn straight edge next to you. And go ahead and graph your next line. If you want to throw the label on, go right ahead. And now let's figure out how we got to shade it. Where are we going to shade? Above or below? Test 0, 0 because the line does not go through. Whew. 3 times 0 plus 0. Is that less than or equal to 6? Is that true, guys? 0 less than or equal to 6? True? Yes, no? Yep. So that means I would want 0, 0 part of my solution. So when I'm ready, I'm going to shade towards 0, 0. Again, guys, watch. Here's what I'm trying to have you do. Remember where I thought it was going to be right here? But now I graph that line, and do you see how I made my shaded region even smaller now? Instead of in that box, in that square in the bottom right-hand corner, now that I have to shade below that line I just graphed, now I know, hey, it's got to be somewhere in here now. See how I'm making this area smaller and smaller? Okay, we good? So I know my shaded region is going to be somewhere in there. Let's make that region even smaller by graphing the final line. Come on now, let's go. 2x minus y less than or equal to -1. Don't freak out. Don't freak out. Your X-Intercept, if you haven't found out already, will be a fraction. It's okay. You get 2x equal to -1. X equals -1/2. Yep. So that's okay though. Graph it the best you can. -1/2 on the x. Right there. Best you can. Do your best, but you have a straight edge. That's why. And now your y-intercept, not bad. Be careful of the negative sign. You're going to have -y equal to -1. Y equals +1. So let's graph y equals +1. Again, use a darn straight edge. If we were in class, I would just provide everyone with whatever they needed, but I got colored pencils rocking, straight edges going. Nuts. Let's see, I already used about light blue. Solid line going through those two. All right, so this is going to determine where my final shaded region is, right? Does everyone see where it could be? I'm either going to pull it down here below the line, right here, or it's going to be this little figure right up here, depending on where I got a shade for this line. Making it smaller. So test 0, 0 finally. Two times 0 minus 0, is that less than or equal to -1? What do we think? Is 0 less than or equal to -1? Is 0 less than negative? Nope, so that's a big X. So I want to make sure I shade away from 0, 0. So that line we just graphed, we want to shade away. Do you see the final shaded region? Everyone see it? It's just going to be this little, looks like a 4-sided figure right here. To the right of my first line, below my second line, to the left of my third line, above my last line. That's where they would all intersect. And this is where I need you to be. All right, that's where I need you to be. And I don't, could you have gotten away with just doing the shading as you went along? Maybe. But I think it would have been you need 4 colors first. And I don't know how great it would have looked. I think that looks a lot, much neater, just shading the final region. Okay, you guys have any questions? That's what I'm going to have you do for me tomorrow, just like we did today. All these different types of examples, and then we're on to movie week. Quiz on all this after break. Hey, great job today. Thank you for sticking with me. Your last teaching day for a while, at least for the next 2 weeks anyway. All right, I'll see you tomorrow, guys, for the assignment.
Bye.
Bye, guys.